What's happening, everybody? It's Sean with Reactions to the Classics, and today we got another Supertramp reaction. It's been a very long time. This time we're doing their classic Breakfast in America, brought to us by a friend, longtime supporter, and patron of the channel, Trucker Kev. Thanks, Kev. Always appreciate you. We did Crime of the Century quite a while ago. Look for the link in the end screen, but we're a long time between here and there. Also, just going to tell you up front, the music won't be in the video. Check out the Vimeo link below. You can listen along with me. You need to on this classic. So I just wanted to give you that heads up before we ever jump into the quick facts. It is their 6th studio album, released on A&M Records in March of 1979. Their biggest selling album, with more than 4 million copies sold in the US and more than 3 million in France, which I thought was odd. The 4th ever best-selling album in France. It sold over 20 million copies worldwide. #1 in the US for 6 weeks, back in a time when, man, it was hard to take that #1 spot on the album chart. Also hit #1 in Norway, Austria, Spain, Canada, Australia, and France. It was recorded in 1978 at the Village Recorder in LA. Won Grammys for Best Album Package and Best Engineered Non-Classical Recording, as well as nominations for Album of the Year and Best Pop Performance by Group. Year-end chart performance, #1 in Australia and Canada for the year, 2 in France, 4 in the UK, 5 in the US. So, I mean, this album is about as heavy hitter as you're going to get. In the UK, The Logical Song and the title track were both top 10 hits, the only 2 the group ever had in their native country. Wow. As with the album, even in the quietest moments, Rick Davies and Roger Hodgson, from now on just known as Rick and Roger on here, wrote most of their songs separately but conceived the theme for the album jointly. A little Beatlesque in this a little bit with John and Paul. The original concept was for an album of songs about the relationship and conflicting ideals between Rick and Roger themselves, to be titled Hello Stranger. Roger explained, "We realized that a few of the songs really lent themselves to 2 people talking to each other and at each other. I could be putting down his way of thinking, he could be challenging my way of seeing life. Our ways of life are so different, but I love him. That contrast is what makes the world go round and what makes Supertramp go round. His beliefs are a challenge of mine, and my beliefs are a challenge to his." I mean, obviously, there's not any subtlety here that this thing was going to end at some point. This idea was eventually scrapped in favor of an album of what they called fun song. And though Rick initially wanted to keep the title Hello Stranger, he was convinced by Roger to change it to Breakfast in America. Roger commented later, quote, "We chose the title because it was a fun title. It was suited the fun feeling of the album. Due to the title and the explicit satirizing of American culture in the cover and 3 of the songs, Gone Hollywood, Breakfast in America, and Child Division, many listeners interpreted the album as a satire of the United States. Supertramp's members have all insisted that the repeated references to U.S. culture are purely coincidental and that no such thematic satire was intended. Roger had described the misconception as a parallel to how Crime of the Century is often misinterpreted as being a concept album." Each song was credited to a single musician on the inner sleeve, so we kind of know who wrote it, and I'll get into that in the individual songs. But on the central vinyl was printed words and music by Roger Hodgson and Rick Davies, combining the 2 and confusing the issue of composition credit. The album went through 2 rounds of demos. The first were home demos, each of which consisted of the chief songwriter, either Rick or Roger, singing and playing either acoustic piano or Wurlitzer electric piano, which is all over this album. The second were 8-track demos recorded at Southcombe Studios in Burbank, California during late April and early May '78. It was in recording these demos that they worked out the backing arrangements for all the songs, with the exception of Take the Long Way Home, and determined the order in which they would appear on the album. Tensions between Rick and Roger were reportedly almost non-existent on this album. Engineer Peter Henderson recalled, quote, "They got along fantastically well and everyone was really happy. There was a very, very good vibe, and I think everyone was really buoyed by the recordings and A&M's response to them." However, Roger contested this, saying that he and Rick had increasingly different lifestyles and that he felt that Rick disliked many of his songs and only kept quiet about his displeasure because he sensed that he would be voted down. Melody Maker journalist Harry Doherty offered a third take on the duo's interactions during the album sessions. He said, quote, "In 3 days with the band, I don't think I saw Rick and Roger converse once, other than to exchange courteous greetings." Well, sometimes that's the best way to get along, right? If you're not really on the same page, just avoid each other, man, instead of like just going after each other. The album's front cover is very famous. So I'm going to kind of tell you everything that's going on it because I found it and I thought it was pretty cool. The album's front cover resembles an overlook of Manhattan through an airplane window. The image depicts Kate Murtaugh dressed as a waitress named Libby from a diner as a Statue of Liberty figure holding up a glass of orange juice on a small plate in one hand in place of the torch of the statue, and a foldable restaurant menu in the other hand on which Breakfast in America is written. The background features the southern tip of the New York City borough of Manhattan, with the lower Manhattan skyline represented through a cornflake box, ashtray, cutlery for the wharfs, pancake syrup bottles, egg crates, salt and pepper shakers, coffee mugs, ketchup and mustard bottles, etc., all spray painted white. The twin World Trade Center towers appear as two stacks of boxes, and the plate of breakfast represents the Battery, the departure point for the Staten Island ferry. This is one of those things, boys and girls, you just miss so much from having the vinyl LP, man. It was one of the great things when you bought it. I'm old enough to remember when you bought it. They went out by the time I was probably 11. You know, it became a cassette world. But the albums, man, just to stare at the album art, right, the cover art, and open it up inside, see what goodies we got inside, and the back cover. Man, it's a lost art. And this is one of those albums that really, really capitalizes on. It's not just the waitress and what they're doing and the menu, Breakfast in America. It's all the other touches behind it. Very critically acclaimed, AllMusic 4 out of 5, or 4.5 out of 5, Mojo 4 out of 5. All the songs, as I said, are credited to Rick and Roger, but I'll let you know who wrote them when we get to them. And on that note, let's get to it. Starts out with Gone Hollywood. Written by Rick, sung by Rick and Roger officially. It tells about a person who moves to Los Angeles in hopes of becoming a movie star, but finds it more difficult than he imagined. He struggles and becomes frustrated until he ultimately gets his break and becomes, quote, the talk of the boulevard. The lyrics were originally more bleak, but under pressure from the other band members, Rick rewrote them to be more optimistic and commercially appealing. Billboard writer David Farrell felt that, quote, other than Rick's lead vocal, the song sounds like a Queen song. Okay, let's see if we agree with that. Thanks again, Kev. Gone Hollywood, great album opener, great way to start this thing. A nice slow build into it. I mean, Rick's piano and synth were fantastic on here. Roger's guitar. Got Bob Benberg on the drums. Dougie Thompson with a little understated bass in there. I mentioned during the reaction saxophone. John Anthony Helliwell, I think that's how you would say his name. Just a really, really well done song. And the majority of the song is you're in Hollywood and you're not making it, right? You're at this bad hotel next to the Taco Bell, and they're slamming doors in your face saying they don't need you anymore. But then you have a little tempo shift, and then it was a heartbreaking, now I ride in the big fine car, it was mind aching, I'm the talk of the boulevard. And then the very last verse, so keep your chin up, boy, forget the pain. I know you'll make it if you try again. There's no use in quitting when the world is waiting for you. So nice lyrics, as well as the musicianship is just top notch. Now up to the Logical Song. Was the lead single, became their biggest hit. 7 in the UK, 6 in the US, number 1 in Canada, and the top song of the year in Canada. Written primarily by Roger, who sings it, who based the lyrics on his experiences being sent away to boarding school for 10 years. It was a very personal song for him. He had worked on the song during sound checks and completed the lyrics and arrangement 6 months before proposing it to the band for the album. In 1980, he was honored with the Novello Award, which is a big-time award from the British Academy of Composers and Songwriters, for this, being named both the best song musically and lyrically. I mean, it's a big-time award. Roger said of the song's meaning, quote, the Logical Song was born from my questions about what really matters in life. Throughout childhood, we are taught all these ways to be, and yet we are rarely told anything about our true self. We are taught how to function outwardly, but not guided to who we are inwardly. We go from the innocence and wonder of childhood to the confusion of adolescence that often ends in the cynicism and disillusionment of adulthood. In the Logical Song, the burning question that came down to its rawest place was, quote, please tell me who I am. That's basically what the song's about. I think this eternal question continues to hit such a deep chord in people around the world, and why it stays so meaningful. You know, when I was doing the research for that and read that quote like 4 times. It's so wise. You know, it's something to really contemplate, you know, because we are all raised in one way pretty much from the school system, and here's how you got to be, and here's what it means to be a, you know, producing member of society and all this good stuff. So it is, and we're often not given the tools we really need to succeed or understand who we are. One of the things that has nothing to do with anything except for among the contemporary sound effects in the song are the tackled sound from a Mattel electronic football game, popular at the time the song was released. Oh, I know that. It's the little red dots. It was white. The Mattel handheld. I remember that. I played that ad nauseum. So I thought it was cool, that effect in here. I know I'll pick it up right away. And the great Paul McCartney named this song, the Logical Song, as his favorite song of the year. This was 1979. I was 8 years old. I don't know if I know this song or not, but it seems like if it was their biggest song, that maybe I will once I hear it. The Logical Song, greatness. I knew it the second I heard it. And I guarantee you, I don't know every top 10 song from when I was 8 years old, right? But this just has that sound to it. Not just because the lyrics are perfect, right? Like Roger doesn't have some sort of songbird voice, but it fits for this song perfectly. And then the musicianship, the instrumentational soundscape and depth that is built into this song is amazing for a little over 4-minute song. I mean, obviously you got Bob on the drums and John on the sax, but you got Rick on the piano, the background vocals, the organ, the clavinet, and then you got Roger on the Wurlitzer piano, the 12-string acoustic, obviously the vocals, and the electric guitar, and then Dougie on bass. So you've already built this just huge instrumental depth to this song, man. It's just everywhere. It's so rich. And then the lyrics are great. And once you understand what the lyrics are about, you know, the chorus, there are times when the world's asleep, the questions run too deep. This is the first chorus. For such a simple man, won't you please tell me what we've learned? I know it sounds absurd. Please tell me who I am. You know, I've got a daughter that's a freshman in high school, and I fully realize that 90% of what she's learning in school, she'll never use in her life. And it just kind of seems weird. I know we got to build this background knowledge base. And I used to be in the education system, so I get it. I used to work in it. I used to be a superintendent in it, so I understand it from the highest level. It always kind of seemed a little absurd to me. And so it's kind of this song I resonate with. Verse 2, I said, watch what you say or they'll be calling you a radical, a liberal, oh, fanatical, criminal. I won't even mention what that is pretty true today. In the second chorus, but at night when all the world's asleep, the questions run so deep for such a simple man. Won't you please tell me what we've learned? I know it sounds absurd. Please tell me who I am. It's like you've done all this stuff for me, but I don't even know who I am or what I am supposed to do. So, man, that song is great. And if you watch this channel a lot, I don't use the GREAT word for too many songs. That's a high bar, but this is a great song. Now we'll go to the third track, Goodbye Stranger. It was written and sung by Rick. Despite being met with only limited success in the UK, as I mentioned, they only ever had two top 10 hits there. It's a major hit elsewhere. 15 in the US, 6 in Canada. Goodbye Stranger. My man Rick getting real high on those vocals at times. You had Rick on the Wurlitzer electric piano and the Hammond organ. Roger great on the guitar and the backing vocal. Lead vocal on the chorus. So I guess he was the one getting real high. John's coming in with the whistling, which is, you know, an underrated musical thing to be able to bring that up in rhythm whenever you need it. We got Bob Seibenberg on the drums and then Dougie on the bass. I got to give you the instrumentation, the musician credits, because, I mean, what an awesome song. Once again, I told you if you were watching along, I knew the chorus. The chorus is iconic. I didn't know the whole song, didn't know all that. The gist of the song is pretty, it's pretty cold, man. He's basically telling all these girls, look, man, I want to hook up with you, but the relationship thing, I don't want to get tied down. It's really not for me. And I know, you know, socially and ethically and kind of the norms are I'm supposed to stick around here, but I'm kind of good, man. I kind of, you know, we did what we did and I'm on my way. But the chorus has that great call and effect, sweet devotion, goodbye, Mary. It's not for me, goodbye, Jane. Just give me motion. Will we ever and set me free meet again? So just these great call and responses, an intricate chorus, both of them, the way they did it. So, man, another great song. Now we go to the title track, written and sung by Roger. Top 10 hit in the UK, and a live version of the song reached 62 in the US. The lyrics tell about a person who has never been to the United States and fantasizes about it. Supertramp started performing the song during a reunion tour without Roger. Roger took credit for writing the song, telling reporters that Rick initially hated the song and that he believed Rick did not play on the recording at all. However, in other interviews, Roger has credited Rick with creating the vocalized retort line, what she's got, not a lot. So Roger says this, well, when I wrote Breakfast in America, I mean, obviously I had a lot of dreams. One of them was to go to America, and the America that we saw on the television was very different to the America that we're very much more connected to today. I mean, it was very archetypal in a way. Quote, everyone in Texas is a millionaire. I'm going to tell you, my brother, I live in Texas. I am far from a millionaire, for example. So a lot of my thoughts, you know, want to see the girls in California. It's just a playful song. Part of it, I think, dreaming of going to America. I think the Beatles maybe had just gone to America. Maybe that affected it. But again, I was dreaming and having fun one day, and this song just flowed out. I think the lyric was written in about an hour, so I didn't even stop to think what I was writing. It just came out of me. Breakfast in America. I didn't know that song, which, I mean, it wasn't a big hit in America, so I didn't really expect to, but I thought it was a chance. But It had a unique sound to it, as all these songs had. Very catchy, even though, a couple things. Doesn't have the title of the song in the song, and it doesn't have a chorus. It just has 3 verses. But it has some rich instrumentation, only 2 minutes 39 seconds long. But this time John Hellowell plays clarinet, and you got Slide Hyde, I mean, is there a better name than that ever, on trombone and tuba. So you got that horns building more depth behind. Roger's lead vocals are nice. Rick on the keys, of course. You got all the usual suspects there, but I did enjoy that. Now we're up to the end of side 1. Oh Darwin, a song I've heard one time because Trucker Kev, the patron who brought this reaction, did a song battle months ago of Oh Darwin, the Beatles versus Supertramp. So you can go check that out when this is done. I can't tell you that I remember the song. I'm sure I remember it once I hear it. Oh Darwin. Okay, so I did remember it some, but not a lot. You know, when you hear a song one time, it's kind of the opposite feeling, obviously, of the third track, Goodbye Stranger. This one, he's telling her his love for her. Oh Darwin, will you ever change your mind? Yeah, I've been feeling left behind like a shadow in your light. Oh honey, won't you say that I'm the one? And if you think you're going to run, well, you know, and then it gets in that chorus, I'm going to be around you, all about you, always by your side. So all this love for her. Verse 2, the news is all over town. You better not let me down. Everybody knows that they're together. Verse 3, tell me that you'll never go, no. Oh, wait, I'm like a watch that's overwound, which no one of this generation would even understand. We used to have to wind our watches. And I've got both feet off the ground because you see, and then it goes in that verse 10, be pretty busy. Oh my pretty, love you night and day. So I'm gonna, the way they finish out. So he has professed his love for her and that he is never going away. So that's another good one. A good way to end out side 1. Now we'll start side 2 out with Take the Long Way Home, written and sung by Roger. 3rd U.S. single, went to number 10, 4 in Canada. According to Roger, the song deals with how the desire to go home can go both ways. I'm talking about not wanting to go home to the wife. Take the long way home to the wife because she treats you like part of the furniture. But there's a deeper level to the song too. I really believe we all want to find our home. Find that place in us where we feel at home. And to me, home is in the heart. And that is really when we're in touch with our heart and we're living our life from our heart, then we do feel like we found our home. I don't know if I know this song, but the title seems like I should know this song. Let's check it out. Take the Long Way Home. I knew the chorus. I mean, I'm not going to remember all the parts of songs when I was 8, but I definitely knew that chorus and that soundscape. And they built a depth to the instrumentation on this song. It was totally different than some of the other songs. It starts out with the harmonica in there and throughout, which Rick played, which builds this different thing, and they have that instrumental build, and then later on there's an instrumental break in there where it's more jazz type influence, so it's a totally different thing. So I mean, there's the production on this album, the arrangement is just so fantastic. You know, it tells the story of what I talked about in the beginning. Basically, you know, you might want to go home, you might not want to go home. My chorus too, when you're up on the stage, it's so unbelievable. Oh, unforgettable, how they adore you. But then your wife seems to think that you're losing your sanity. Oh, calamity, is there no way out? Oh, yeah. So was he married at the time? Because what did his wife think of this? If he was, but I'm sure he probably just said, oh, honey, it's just, you know, one of those things that you write. It's not about you, but yeah, I mean, just so well put together. Just a jam. Now, don't have much on the next 2 songs. You see it below, Lord, Is It Mine? It is a Roger song. What a great song. I mean, totally chilled out. The keyboards are just fantastic, and Roger sounds great on it. Interpretation of what it's about. You know, in my readings, one of the big problems between Roger and Rick is that Roger is a Christian and Rick was an atheist. And, well, you can totally, I mean, I'm a Christian. I'm a devout Christian, believe strongly in my faith. It's the most important thing in my life. I can get along with people who are atheists. Just find there's plenty of people in this community that are atheists. We bond over our love of music. Do I hope that they find the Lord? Yes, but I'm not sitting here judging them. We can get along just fine. But I think maybe when you're in a band and spending all this time, if my wife was an atheist, would that work out long term for 27 years? Maybe not. I don't know. So maybe that was part of the problem. So you can say here he's talking to God, which I think he is, or he's talking to God about a girl. It's really about a girl. You can kind of interpret it however you want. It starts out, I know there's a reason why I need to be alone. You show me there's a silent place that I can call my own. Is it mine, oh Lord? Is it mine? You know, I get so weary from the battles in life, and there's many times it seems you're the only hope in sight. Is it mine, oh Lord? Is it mine? When everything's dark and nothing seems right, there's nothing to win and there's no need to fight. So I never cease to wonder at the cruelty of this land. Amen to that, brother. But it seems a time of sadness is a time to understand. Is it mine, oh Lord? Is it mine? I found that in my life. I reached in my faith the most when I'm in my darkest and moments of despair. So I think it's a great song. I also think it's great showing the versatility. It's totally different than anything else on this album. Now we'll go to a Rick song. He wrote and sung this one, Just Another Nervous Wreck. Just Another Nervous Wreck. This one's about missing your chance in life. He said, I threw it all away now. I could have made a fortune. I lost the craving for success. And as the acrobats, they tumble, so the corn begins to crumble, while in the mirror she admires a brand new dress. Live on the second floor now. They're trying to bust the door down. Soon I'll have a new address. So he's losing everything. The chorus, the pre-chorus, and as the clouds begin to rumble, so the juggler makes his fumble, and the sun upon my wall is getting less. Don't give a damn. Fight while you can. Kill. Shoot them up. They'll run amok. Shout Judas. So you could definitely see Rick and Roger's differences in their viewpoints and worldly viewpoints in these last two songs. Loud, they'll hear a soldier, sailor, who's your tailor? They'll run for cover when they discover everyone's a nervous wreck now. The next pre-chorus, I used to think she was so nimble. He's talking about his wife here. I would have bought her as a symbol, but now I can't afford the pen to sign her checks or alimony checks. He can't even afford the pen. So nice little tune there. I did like the way it built. All right, we got two songs left. Go to Casual Conversations, written by Rick, sung by Rick. He explained to Melody Maker after this album was released that this song dealt with the relationship with Roger at the time. He said, that song for me is deeply personal. It can obviously relate to people as well as boy-girl. I suppose it's me and Roger to a degree. Me not being able to communicate with him, wanting to get out at times. Casual Conversations. We got to remember back in 1979, things were different. I mean, who even knows if the common person, I would doubt they knew that Rick and Roger had problems, right? You're not consuming your information from 24-hour news or from the internet or from your phone or from social media. Like, you only knew what people told you. You happened to catch on the TV on the 3 channels that were on for most of us. People had cable at the time, but not many of us. I sure didn't. So when you heard this song, you probably just thought, you read the lyrics on the album, you probably just thought it's about a girl, right? But when you know that Rick's really writing it about Roger, or to some extent, it takes on newfound gravity, right? Imagine's all I have, but even when you say it's bad, just can't see why we disagree. In Casual Conversations, how they bore me, yeah, they go on and on endlessly. No matter what I say, you'll ignore me anyway. You try to make me feel so small until there's nothing left at all. Why go on just hoping that we'll get along? There's no communication left between us. But is it me or you who's to blame? There's nothing I can do. Yes, you're fading out of view. Don't know if I feel joy or pain. It's a shame. And now it's all been said. If you must leave, then go ahead. Should feel sad, but really believe that I'm glad. I really believe I'm glad. I read you most of the lyrics because the lyrics are fire. Understated instrumentation on these last 3 songs. So I like how it has just a change on this album from everything that was just so well done. This is still so well done, but so instrumentally complex to this stuff that's not simple, but simpler. I do have a feeling though that the simplicity will not carry on to the final song on the album, Child of Vision, written by Roger, sung by Roger, Rick, and John. They're all giving vocal credits here. Much like the Logical song, it uses a Wurlitzer electric piano as the main instrument. After the lyrical part, the song goes into a long solo played on the grand piano alongside the original melody on the Wurlitzer. The track fades out with a short saxophone solo by John. Roger said the song was written to be an equivalent to Gone Hollywood, looking at how Americans live, though he confessed that he had only had a limited familiarity with U.S. culture at the time of writing. He also said there was a slight possibility, that he subconsciously had Rick in mind while writing the lyrics. So this might be a little retort to Rick, but also if it has some sort of bookend to the first track, Gone Hollywood. It's 7.5 minutes long. We actually have a song reaction that's up on the channel that Trey did, but I've never heard this song. Child of Vision. Thought it was a good way to bookend the album. A lot of long instrumental stuff, both on the opening and obviously on the coda, on the closing. But just kind of to bookend the fact that these guys are wonderful musicians. The song itself, you try to be a hero, commit the perfect crime, but the dollar got you dancing and you're running out of time. So it is kind of about America and the America that they were looking at that time through that lens in 1979. And you gave me Coca-Cola, you just said it tasted so good. Then you watch the television and to tell that just you should. So, the power that advertisements had back in the day when we didn't have the remote to change the channel. So like you were watching all the advertisements and they had much more power and influence. Now we can fast forward through them or we just turn to something else, but it's a little bit different back then. So There must be more to this life. It's time we did something right. Child Division. Won't you listen? Find yourself a new ambition. I've heard it all before. You're saying nothing new. I thought I saw a rainbow, but I guess it wasn't true. You cannot make me listen, and I cannot make you hear. So I wonder if this is a little part of the shots at each other. So you'll find your way to heaven, and I'll meet you when you're there. So enjoyed that one. Good way to finish it off. Now we'll head into my favorite tracks. There's 10 songs on here. I got 2 honorable mentions. It's ironic. The first song, Gone Hollywood, and this song, Child Division. I like Gone Hollywood better, but those are my 2 honorable mentions. Favorites, The Logical Song, Goodbye Stranger, Take the Long Way Home, and Lord Is It Mine. Now we're getting to my overall score on the album. 6 of the 10 songs fell in faves or honorable mentions. There's a few songs on here that fell just a little bit short for me, but they were still really good songs. The highlight of this album, I think, is just the musicianship, the instrumentation, the production, the arrangement. This album is so well done from start to finish. And I like it a lot more than I like Crime of the Century, the other album that we reviewed. I didn't mind that. I thought that was a good album. But I think this is a great album. And by the way, Trey's not here with me, but I can tell you his thoughts because we talked about this album because I said, hey, you want to do this together? He's like, nah, man, I've heard it a bunch of times. It's a great album. Trey actually gives this album a 9. I'm going to be right behind him at 8.75, which is a sky-high grade for me. I hardly ever give out a 9. I did give a 9 out to Trucker Kev's selection last month, Abraxas from Santana. So go check that out as well. That's up on the channel. This is a great album, and I'd always heard a lot about this album. And obviously, as we went through, I knew a few of the songs on here, sort of like just casual listening when I was 8 years old. But fantastic choice. So thanks, Trucker Kev. Always appreciate you. Always appreciate everybody who watches along with this. If you want to be a supporter in any way like Kev is, check out the Patreon link below or on the end screen. The patrons keep this thing going. Until next time, guys, I will see you.